And he goes, you need a business coach now if you want to scale your business. So I did. And I've been with the same business coach since then. And that was in 2019. At this point, the tools that I've learned are all there, but the accountability is like, you can't beat that. Every Friday, I'm showing up with the coach and we're going through the numbers. And if there's changes in the data or the trends, we're looking at it.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today my guest is Brooke Schnittman, a leading ADHD coach, trainer, and best-selling author dedicated to helping individuals with ADHD overcome challenges and succeed in their careers and lives. As the founder of Coaching with Brooke, she and her team help clients improve time management, organization, focus, and confidence, key skills for thriving in both work and life. And with over 20 years of experience, Brooke has guided thousands of professionals in breaking through obstacles and reaching their full potential. She's also the creator of 3C Activation ADHD Coach Training Program and hosts the award-winning Successful with ADHD podcast. I'm excited to dive into her insights, navigating ADHD in the workplace and also the business side of the coaching. Welcome to the show, Brooke.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate being here.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to become an ADHD coach.
So when I was growing up, I was diagnosed with anxiety and auditory processing disorder. I was bullied from the age of 8 to 35 consistently through elementary school, middle school, high school, even into my career. And surprisingly enough, I went to college to go back into the school system, which is the very place I got bullied. I couldn't imagine like actually having the bravery to go into the classroom again, but I pushed myself. I did. And when I was going to school for elementary education, I said, you know what? There was one special education class. I really liked it. I wanted to know more about it. So I immediately jumped in and got my master's in students with disabilities, then became a special education teacher the day after I graduated and moved up the ladder to assistant director of special education. Now, I was working with ADHD, learning disabled, anxiety, like high functioning students who learn differently. And I so badly wanted to help and heal them. And what I didn't know at the time was that I also had ADHD and a learning disorder, right? So fast forward, after being in school as an assistant director, I decided to move on because it wasn't working with my strengths. I didn't feel the excitement anymore. I didn't feel the impact being on the administrative level. So I quit the golden handcuffs, moved to Florida from New York, and received coaching. Didn't know what coaching was at the time, but I was recommended it by a friend. And for the first time ever, I learned my strengths, my weaknesses, how I was showing up for myself, how I was showing up for others, how to execute things over time. I had no idea what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, but I did know at that point I did want to create something as an entrepreneur with neurodivergent people. I met someone who was an ADHD coach, had a similar background to me, and she said, you would make a great ADHD coach. I dove in head first, started my business, got all the certifications. And 6 months after being an ADHD coach for students, then adults, from person to online, I started noticing I love coaching, but I hate taking my notes and I hate shifting from coaching to notes, back to coaching to notes, and shifting my attention. So that was the first time ever that it occurred to me that like, there's something similar here. So I started putting the pieces together. I went to a psychologist, got a diagnosis of ADHD combined type in 2019, and then followed it up with a psychiatrist. And I did get on ADHD medication. I did have a lot of the tools at the time to help manage my symptoms, even though I didn't know I had ADHD at the time because I got coached and I was using a lot of the coaching strategy with my clients. And yeah, it was just, like guns blazing from there. 6 months after that, I met my non-diagnosed ADHD husband and his two non-diagnosed ADHD sons. And now we're one big family of 5 of ADHDers. So that's my story.
Wow. So you was the coach that was helping you with ADHD the same coach that also recommended you become an ADHD coach?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
so it was different person.
It was totally different. I came to Florida. I dabbled in a lot of the same teaching, administrative stuff, even though I didn't want to go back into that. I just didn't know what to do with my life. And I saw this person, her name's Lynn Menarosa, and she's another ADHD coach in Florida. And she's actually a career coach too. And I didn't know what she was doing at the time, but like something was gravitating me towards her. And I kept asking, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Tell me. You gotta tell me what you're doing, you know? And then eventually, like a year later, she's like, all right, look, I'm an ADHD coach. You would make a great ADHD coach. This is what it is. Here's how to do it. And she believed in me. She saw, my strengths. She saw my weaknesses. And we had the same special education background and administration. And I don't know, there's something that like just drew me to it. I can't explain it. And I did it. And I seriously have not looked back since that day. And that was in October 2018 that I first got put onto ADHD coaching.
Wow, that's such a powerful story. How does it continue from the moment that you started your ADHD coaching business to where you are at right now, which also you have a team, you're no longer, yeah.
Oh yeah. So, it's like the stock market, right? It goes it goes up, down, all around. But the goal is to keep going up. So when I first started, I was just in it to win it. And I was just coaching. I was just coaching anyone and everything, in person, online, children, adults, had no age range, really had no avatar at that point. I just took what I could get because that's what you do when you start out. You need to actually, Lynn told me, you know what? Just like don't necessarily have a niche, like coach everyone, see what you like and what you don't like, and then you can figure it out. And I totally stand by that. And I still kind of weave through the niches today. So I was coaching a lot of clients. I was coaching like 25 clients a week. And someone knocked on my door literally and figuratively and was like, hey, I work with ADHD students, would love to be a coach for you if you're ever looking for one. And I didn't even think about it at the time, but I was so swamped. And finally, when I came up for air, I said, you know what, come join me. So I started training her. That was the first person I trained. Then I brought on a graphic designer assistant to help me with some worksheets I was doing for my 3C activation program that I was creating. And then she ended up turning into an assistant and still works with me today. Then I moved from that one coach to 2 coaches to 3 coaches to 8 coaches, scaled down slightly, but it has been a forward progression with, some changes over the years, but it has been beautiful, going from one-on-one coaching to group coaching to training other coaches in coaching with Brooke to training coaches outside of coaching with Brooke, to be a premier ADHD coach trainer now, giving people the program that I created for the coaching with Brooke clients to have that ripple effect throughout the world. So we have directly worked with thousands of clients in over 30 countries. When I was creating the coach training too, I was also writing my book. That was on my bucket list. And I started writing about the ADHD disruption spiral, about overwhelm, underwhelm, everything in between. And I kind of hit a block midway through and I said, oh my God, put my 3C activation program in the book. Let's make it a workbook book style. Give everyone the tools that they may or may not be able to afford if they were to receive our coaching or they couldn't receive our coaching. Give it out to the world. Let them use it and thrive with it too. So that's more or less where part of the journey that we've taken.
Do you also do coaching yourself these days with clients?
So right now I'm working personally with executives and professionals. So yes, I take less than a handful of clients and it's a short period of time. We work really deep quickly. They get the skills they need and they leave. If they need to come back, they do. But yes, those are the one-on-one clients that I work with. And I also personally from all the clients I have had over the years. I do have a Maintaining Momentum group where I meet with clients weekly, and we have accountability support and laser focused coaching with Hot Seat. So I do have a group, and I have the one-on-one coaching for only a couple of clients at a time.
Wow. And right now, is there a specific, apart from ADHD, does it get niched down further? It's like ADHD with executives only. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
just you, but the whole business.
Yeah. So for the whole business, we have about two different avatars. So for the adults, it's high achievers who are worn out, who are overwhelmed, they're burned out. They, might want to be more productive, but what they don't realize is to be more productive, they need to look internally and slow it down and do it with the tips and strategies that we teach in 3C Innovation. So yes, the high achiever who is running the rat race, the person who was like me before I received coaching and who wants to keep it all together, who wants that job, who wants the marriage to work, who wants to be out doing, wants it all, but is spinning.
Yeah.
So that's the adults that we're working with. And then for students, we're working with 8 and up. And the students we help with, again, they are like high performing, but they are missing that executive function development. So compensated in school because they're really smart, but they never really learned how to organize their materials, to manage, to study, to break things down. So we help those students with that as well.
All right. So that's very clear. Thanks for sharing that. And where do you find clients that you work with? What is the main marketing channel that's working best for you right now?
Good question. So 50% of our clients come from Instagram, 20% come from referrals, 15% come from podcasts, and the rest are Google and other sources.
Oh, wow. That's very, very specific and exact.
I happen to look at the numbers, even though I hate looking at numbers. I am accountable to them because that's unfortunately how I have to be in a business with multiple people.
Interesting. When you mentioned Instagram, I've had like people in the podcast that have used Instagram, but mostly it's been that people just want to like, they find the coach in LinkedIn or something, and then they also see that the coach has an Instagram. The Instagram is more about their lifestyle, their personal life. So it's just like someone wants to follow them there. So I'm curious, how have you utilized Instagram? Is it Instagram Lives? What is the strategy there?
I think in your position, it's if someone's looking for career coaching or something within their career, they're usually going to go to a career platform like LinkedIn and then validate them in other social media platforms like Instagram, like you said. So I think that's probably why, like, since we have more of a broad clientele with students and also, everyday adults. So for Instagram, we do a lot of visual representations of ADHD. We do lots of carousels and infographics of what a part of ADHD might look like and different tools to feel empowered with it. Our mission is to partner with ADHDers to give them the tools and accountability to lead empowered lives. So that's exactly what we're doing on Instagram. My graphic designer, executive assistant who's been with me for a very long time, has grown with me. We've trained together on Instagram, and she has just evolved Instagram so much since she started with me. And I believe that people truly believe in our methodologies, our systems, because we're just pretty much giving it all away on Instagram.
And is it all organic, or is there also Instagram ads, like meta ads?
It's all organic. So my husband, who's a marketer, tried to do some Instagram ads and meta ads, and we spent money on that. I honestly didn't receive much value from that. What those ads led to were people who were trying to get like free downloads or an ebook, $4, but it never led to an actual client. In my case, not to say that in other cases it doesn't work.
Okay. Well, that kind of explains it. So yeah, the cold traffic funnel, the traditional one, you go to a freebie, download it, and then be part of the newsletter, and and eventually turn into something. While with organic, the journey is it shorter?
With organic, it's not necessarily shorter, but it has more an opportunity rate. With cold traffic for us, they don't really know who we are. Even if they go from this Instagram ad to our newsletter, most of them unsubscribe and don't become clients. So we haven't found it helpful at all. Even when other big Instagram platforms have promoted us before, those people have unsubscribed from our newsletters because they haven't bought into us. They bought into these other people and they're trying to get this free thing. So we found that the best traffic for us has been organic.
And the intent is probably higher there because they were not forced into your content. They liked your content to begin with. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the whole no, like, buy. Yeah.
What are some future goals that you're working towards in the next 1 to 3 years?
Good question. So we want to keep raising the bar on the ADHD coaching program that we have, the 3C activation for coaches. So we would like to continue to refine the program. My word for the year was refine. So go deep, edit, not necessarily create something new, but like make it better, right? Not get stagnant, add the greatest neuroscience and research. So that's the goal for this year, to just like really make things so much better in what we already have. And for the next 5 years, our vision is to impact 1 billion people with ADHD awareness and tools. So for this year, going deep in the 3C activation for coaches material. I'm also on the side working on a book for students with executive functions. I'm also thinking about editing my current book, Activate Your ADHD Potential, with the new stuff that I'm adding to the program.
Quite ambitious goals. There's quite a lot of them. And when it comes to the program, how do you measure success there? Is it through like how much the clients would have recommended it after they worked with you? Is there like a score that you're keeping?
Yeah, that's really good. Is it quantitative, qualitative? I think it's more qualitative, and how can they use these materials to make impact on their clients' lives? So I have coaches who after lesson 1, because each lesson they get a tool and a strategy and neuroscience information. So I have clients who lesson 1 start implementing the ADHD tool that they got with their current clients. So if they're already life coaches, or if they're teachers or psychologists, or executive coaches, right? People have said, oh, I've already used X with this client and this has made such a big impact on them. So that's how I measure it. Like, what is the impact that the coach is creating on their current population with the material that they're gaining from the program?
Thanks so much for sharing that. I wanted to ask also an investment type question. What resources or support has been most valuable for you in growing your coaching business?
Yeah, sure. So business coach for sure. First, I started with a bookkeeper. That was amazing. But I remember after my first year of coaching, I met my husband and he's like, all right, so where's your CRM? I'm like, CR who? He goes, CRM. I'm like, what? He goes, the names of your clients and the emails and their information. I'm like, So I literally had to go through my paperwork, and we were taking a legal pad and writing down all of my clients. That's where I started. And he goes, you need a business coach now if you want to scale your business. So I did. And I've been with the same business coach since then. And that was in 2019. At this point, the tools that I've learned are all there, but the accountability is like, you can't beat that. Every Friday, I'm showing up with the coach and we're going through the numbers. And if there's changes in the data or the trends, we're looking at it, and I'm aware, and I'm not letting things just fall to the wayside or being, shoved under the rug. I'm being proactive, I'm being reactive, and I'm, being on top of the important key performance indicators.
The other question I had for you is like, what is something that you wish you had known when you first started scaling your coaching business? And could even be that CRM thing that you just mentioned, but yeah.
So yeah, one of them is like grow my list immediately, right? Like keep contacts in a list and nurture the list. I had my best year in 2022 because I had a salesperson. and things have changed over time. But I guess I know I'm kind of going in a circle here, but I'm retraining a different salesperson, and it can be frustrating to train new people over and over again, right? And sometimes they say, well, if you have to train a new person, maybe you didn't find the right person, or maybe you don't have the right management or leadership skills. Sales jobs are really hard, right? Like people who are in a sales position don't usually stay for very long. In any position where you're training someone, do whatever you can to record the trainings. So this way, every time you train someone, you don't personally have to invest all that time in going through from beginning to end on the SOPs and the trainings. So if you could have some video recordings, even if you're doing it for the first time, put the camera on while you're training someone. So next time it's there. Same thing when you're training coaches. You're training your first coach, put the camera on every single time. So you have those videos and you put it into a shared task management system like Asana. So it's there and you can make a copy of it for the next person you train.
Yeah, that is very valuable actually. Just like creating those systems and SOPs for the future and keeping those so that you don't have to do the same hours again.
Oh my gosh, the amount of
Yeah.
time.
And so you just let me understand that basically when it comes to sales, you have delegated that part out. Kind of
Yes.
you don't
Yes.
do it yourself
No,
or
I used
partial.
to do it. I used to do it myself, but what I found was when I did it, I wasn't able to focus on the vision of the company. I wasn't able to focus on bigger growth, right? I was still in the weeds. And also when I was doing it, people were like, well, I want to work with you. Like, why am I going to work with another coach? I came to you and you're the salesperson. So I had to remove myself from that position so they know that they're coming. And I think at this point it's pretty obvious, but they're coming and there's these multiple coaches, right? Like I'm not going to even try to sell you on myself first. Like I am selling you, not selling you. I'm making sure it's a good fit for you and for the coach, but we're giving you those options unless it's a very specialized type of person who I work with, as I mentioned.
Yeah, and I think on the messaging from the website, it's also clear that it's not you who they're going to work with, per se. So there's other coaches in the business, even though the brand holds your name still. So
That's actually one other thing that I would have done differently. And people ask me that all the time. They're like, why did you choose coaching with Brooke? And I said, I didn't know I was going to have a team. And I didn't know that it was going to be so niche into ADHD. But the funny thing is I was thinking about changing it. And I had a whole year of like different names that all made sense with. And I said, you know what? We have enough brand recognition at this point. If we were to change our name to something totally different, all that SEO would be out the door. And you go to McDonald's, you're not going to get McDonald's. You're going to get the staff, right? You go to Roy Rogers, same thing. You know, like you go so many things. Tony Robbins, yeah, you get Tony Robbins, but you also get a staff. It's the same thing at Coaching with Brooke. Like I am there, I am present, I am communicating with my team, communicating with the clients, but I might not be the main person.
yeah, it has been actually the case with also other coaches I've spoken with that they connect the brand with their name, and it could be the same thing. They could maybe in the future be an issue, or you can just keep it the same because like if it's too late, then it's too late. You just keep it like that. Another question is, and this will be especially good for you with the business that is growing, how do you currently handle the balance between delivering great results through either clients that you work with yourself or clients throughout the coaches that you have on the team and managing business growth on the other side? So how do you handle those two elements of the business?
Yeah, I have standing meetings with my coaches every week. We call them 5-minute check-ins. So, they end up being more than 5 minutes, but most of the time. But we go through all of their clients. We go through any problems that they have, any concerns, anything that they're hearing from their clients that needs to be addressed and what's going well. So we do that every week I do that with all my coaches. And then I have like a once a month group Coaching with Brooke meeting where everyone comes together and we share wins and talk about any changes that's coming up. I have a bi-weekly, so actually it's 2 times a week, so it's not bi-monthly. That's the wrong term. 2 times a week I have a meeting with my executive assistant. Monday it's okay, here are all the tasks that we need this week, and Thursday we review them. So I have standing meetings with every single person on the team. And as you know, I don't take that many clients. I take 2 or 3. So that's how I balance my time between making sure that the company's operating and also I can still vision. And, I've gotten back to my roots too. Like I've gotten back to the reset activation used to be just for clients, not coaches, right? I'm finishing up my last three set activation client group. I went back into it where I had my coaches do it for because I wanted to just check, make sure everything's going well, see if there needed to be any changes. So I make sure that I'm still involved and I'm not so far removed because it's important that we have the best research, we have the most up-to-date information, and that we're current.
And you also talked a little bit about your challenges as well. So the challenge, especially with hiring and training a salesperson. Is there any other challenge that you're currently facing that you say is one of the biggest challenges that's standing in the way of you scaling further?
Yeah, selling. It still comes back to the sales. So we have the coach training program, which is only 2 years old. So it's building momentum, but not as fast as I would like it because I'm not marketing as much as I should air quotes. So every cohort that happens, I have to, sell and market, right? So it's not one of those recurring monthly groups or memberships like some companies have. So it's always the fear or worry, like, are we going to have enough signups this time around? Because that is our high ticket bread and butter. The one-on-one coaching is not the bread and butter. It's not a star, I guess you would call it, at the company. That's not where we make the most money. The money is really in the 3C activation program, and people see the value in it because they're going through it and they're seeing transformation. But obviously a higher ticket item doesn't come as easy to sell.
Yeah, so just wanted to make sure that I also ask the advice question. So what advice would you give to other career coaches? In this case, it's going to be career coaches looking to scale their impact.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that have worked for me is to listen to the clients. Stop worrying about so much what your competitors are doing. Obviously, it's important to do market research, but the biggest way that I have grown my business is by listening to the customer and their needs and then creating that organically. So going back to what growth works best in social media, it's all organic. Same thing internally. So go back to your roots, go back, question your customers, ask them how their journey is, find out from a relationship perspective what's working, what's not working. So you can nurture the clients you have, right? And we don't have to so much look outward. And also, we know how much harder and how much more expensive it is to bring in new clients rather than nurture the clients that we have. So I would say that's my number one. I think so many people out there are looking on how can I grow? How can I make it bigger? How can I make it bigger? But pause and look at what you do have.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And for anyone who wants to find you, they can find you at coachingwithbrooke.com, also Brooke Schnittman, and LinkedIn. Is there any other way that people, if they want to connect with you, they could?
Yeah, our biggest platform is Instagram. Pretty much everything is Coaching with Brooke with an E. So you can find us there. And then my book is Activate Your ADHD Potential.
Thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you for coming to the show.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.